Okay, we are live on Facebook, Instagram, and also I am recording on camera for our podcast. I want to welcome everybody who's joining me. If you see my eyes move around, it's because I have 3 cameras set up. Being that we're physically distancing ourselves, usually my team does this, but I wanted to have a conversation with you because this week was my birthday and I did a deep reflection and meditation, and was just kind of inspired to stream of consciousness, share some of the things that I learned this past year. And I encourage you to take a few notes because occasionally I'll say something maybe worth writing down. And if it's useful to you, share this Facebook. We're in the private Facebook group at Jim Kwik, limitless group. And first of all, how's everyone doing? How's everyone doing on Instagram, on social media? This is, I'm your brain coach, Jim Kwik. This is actually a live podcast episode, a live Kwik Brain podcast episode. I'm going to share with you a few quick thoughts on learning, a few quick thoughts on life, and we'll get started in a moment. And if you have questions, you can see my microphone on Instagram here too. This is not going to be edited, so we'll make this extremely raw and very real and very relevant. So a couple of quick announcements. If you are listening to this podcast as a recording, make sure you follow me at Jim Kwik on Facebook and on Instagram. We do these lives pretty regularly. I'm going to share with you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, no more than 10 lessons of things that I'm thinking about this next year. And thank you for all the birthday wishes. It means everything. When you start thinking differently, raw is good. Where's everyone from? How's everyone doing? Okay, so another announcement. Today ends our Kwik Learning birthday special. If you want the ultimate mental edge and brain fitness for less, you could get one or any of our best-selling online courses, our speed reading, our memory enhancement. We have the best student success, academic success program in the world. So for your kids, whether they are middle school, high school, college, graduate school, you're a student of life, every age, every stage, you could get them today. Today's the last day of my birthday sale, 60% off. And the best part of it is half of it is actually going back to, I believe you learn to earn to return. So not only will you get a great discount, 60% off today on our courses, we are also donating 50% of that to Pencils of Promise. Yeah, big fans of them. We are committed to build a school. We're calling Limitless Promise. This one is in Ghana. If you've been following my work over the past, X amount of years, we've built schools everywhere from Guatemala to Kenya. And this one was actually in Guatemala. And the impact is pretty extraordinary. And it not only provides education, but clean water, healthcare for young girls and boys who don't have access to education. The site for that, maybe you could type it in on Instagram. It's jimkwik.com/birthday. jimkwik.com/birthday. And I will pin it. And let's do this. Our podcast, I'm very proud of it. We launched it a couple of years ago. It was me recording it on a phone because we got the same questions. How do you remember names? How do you study? How do you, optimize your sleep? How do you change your habits? How do you have motivation? And so I created this podcast really on my phone, just audio recording. And that's why in the beginning, the quality wasn't quite as good because that was, I just wanted to get the information out there. My team turned it into a podcast, which is pretty extraordinary for them. Annie, thank you for, let me pin this comment real quick. Okay, so the sale, again, 60% off is available today. You could go there to get all the details. And then there's a 60-day money-back guarantee. So you can go through the programs twice with your family, go through it with everybody in your family so you can benefit from it. I will upgrade every single person today a lifetime access to it. So, and half of it goes to charity. Now let's go into my, and again, if you're just joining us, thank you for the birthday wishes. I'm recording this live podcast. For our podcast, you can go to kwikbrain.com to get more information about it. You also get 3 bonus videos there on how to remember names and some fun other stuff. I will also answer questions at the end, okay? So here are a few stream of consciousness lessons that I've been really hitting home the past couple of months. First of all is the value of practice. And I would recommend jotting some of these down because one of these I know is going to resonate with you and be supportive for you. The value of practice. Practice makes what? You could type it in the comments. Practice makes progress. Practice makes progress. And the goal is not perfection, but for me it's always been progress. Here's the secret that I don't think people realize when it comes to your brain. Every single moment you are training something. Every single moment you are training something. You're rewiring your brain for something. There's this area of science called neuroplasticity where every single time you do something, you create new connections or you strengthen existing connections. So let me make this really something to relate to. Every time you eat something or you reach for food, that you are training yourself, your practice. Every single time you're under stress, if you go into compassion, you're training compassion. If you go into anger, you are training anger. Every time you watch television, every time you exercise, every time you pick up your phone, you're practicing picking up your phone. And what comes to my mind is this quote that says, we don't rise to the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our training. And so what if you had this mindset going through life that everything I'm doing, I'm practicing something. I'm practicing, when to go to sleep. I'm practicing how to react to people. I'm practicing how I move my body. Everything becomes a practice. And so again, practice makes some kind of progress. Practice makes permanent is even more accurate. Practice makes permanent. Whatever you're practicing, you're training all the time. So there's never a time when you're not, because every time you have a thought, every time you do a behavior, every time you have a feeling, you're practicing those things. So my question for everybody is, are those thoughts, are those behaviors, are those feelings, are those things you want to get better at? Because you're rehearsing it all the time. The second thing I want to just mention, besides the power of practice, is the value of finishing things. And we, in this society, and I'm again, everything we talk about in our podcast, they're quick bites, brain drops for you. We're raining, insights and some ideas. But we're so trained with social media that everything is in small characters, right? Everything's in snaps and tweets and talks and posts. And so we get this kind of short burst. And I think also what we're training, we're talking about the power of practice, is we're training something to be just kind of brief and short. And we don't realize it's not just a sprint, but there's a marathon that we're running, that life really is a marathon. And if you're not completing things, if you're just getting a jolt by buying a book and maybe reading a few pages, and here's the thing, your brain has a literal open loop inside of it. And I'm not saying you should complete everything. Some things we should not complete. If something's not working for you, sometimes a loss, it could be a relationship, it could be a project, it could be a person, it could be anything. Sometimes a loss is a gain. Proof that when you subtract, sometimes you multiply, right? So I'm not saying for everything, but for some things, the follow through and the completion is just so important. And again, sometimes when we're practicing, on social media, which we spend an inordinate amount of time in, if you look at your phone and the amount of time you're spending in certain apps, and I can't criticize it because you're watching this right now, because it has, powers to connect, power to share, power to encourage. But also don't be at the effect of technology. Technology is a tool for you to use, but if you're just picking the phone out of habit, then you become the tool. And so like that's a challenge. So the power of practice, the power of depth, the power of follow through, of finishing and completion. I feel like there's nothing, it's so satisfying. How many of you finish a book and you're just like, wow, I finished it? And that's what you notice I repost a lot of people are finishing Limitless because I wanted, oh, by the way, Limitless just hit the New York Times again this week. And so thank you for making that happen also as well. But I don't want it to be just the most bought book. I want it to be the most read book. That's why there's chapters on how to read this book. That's why there's chapters on speed reading, which a lot of you are reading first. And so the goal here is to finish and reward yourself. Part of another value you could have is to celebrate your wins. If you're training a dog, you're training your child to clean their room, or your dog to use the bathroom in a certain place, you give it a lot of love, but you're not giving yourself that love. And so reinforce things that you want more of. So power of practice, the power of finishing completion. Here's another value that I just reflecting on this past year is not only the value of completing something, the power of practice, but also, and I will, if you're just joining us, I will answer questions at the end. This is a live podcast episode, so I'm kind of giving you as much value as possible in a short period of time, but also the value of doing less. And that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but the goal is not, I don't think the goal is just to be busy all the time, because one of my mentors, Dr. Stephen Covey, and again, if you're just joining us, I'm looking at 3 cameras, talked about don't climb the ladder of success and be so busy and efficient in climbing that ladder and realize when you get to the top, it's leaning towards the wrong wall. And so I think the goal is not to be busy, it's to be productive, but sometimes being productive is a lot more about doing less than it is about doing more of something, if that makes sense. And so you have your to-do list, but I would also encourage you to have a not to-do list. That sometimes part of self-care is when you say yes to somebody or something, you're not saying no to yourself. That putting borders and boundaries on your time, on your emotion, it could be extremely valuable. Going back to how when you subtract, you could actually multiply. Same thing with people, same thing with activities also as well. Another one in the world that we're in right now, thank you for all the birthday wishes, it warms my heart. We had over 400 videos sent. I'm going to be showing some of those clips of people using what we've taught to make their lives better. We live in very difficult times, right? And I believe that kindness is a superpower. So not only practice, not only completion, not only doing less, but also the value of kindness. Kindness, I believe, is a superpower. Just remember, take a breath here. Remember that everyone is fighting a battle that you don't know about. Everyone is struggling in something. For me, for years and years, I mean literally decades, I had trouble sleeping. I had extreme sleep apnea, obstructive sleep apnea. I would stop breathing 214 times a night I couldn't breathe. And it wasn't because my mind was busy. My mind is extremely calm at night, but I would just wake up because I would suffocate. Each of those 214 times was at least 10 seconds. So imagine somebody coming in and putting a pillow over your face. And I use CPAP devices and dental devices, and I do all these things. Finally, I had surgery, but I was struggling all that time, but nobody knew I was struggling, and it got amplified because back in college or at school, I had to pull these all-nighters to catch up and keep up with everybody else to get less results. And I would pull these all-nighters, and I was practicing staying up at night, right? Whatever you're doing repeatedly. And I was traveling. I'd be in 3 continents in 1 week, and I'd be jet lagged, and I'd be waking up in foreign environments, in hotels and everything. And it's really bad when a memory expert doesn't remember what city they're in, right? But I was struggling, but no one would know. And so there's no such thing as a small act of kindness. Kind acts from friends, even positive social media comments that you have left for me or left for somebody else. It's kept me going even when people didn't know that I really needed it. And here's the thing, kindness ripples way beyond like a pebble in a lake. And kindness is free, guys. Kindness is free. So sprinkle that stuff everywhere. Because drop those kindness pebbles because you don't know the ripple effect, especially now. It's this butterfly effect where a butterfly in New York City could flap its wings and create a tsunami of change across the globe because of dynamic systems. So those are some values. Another value I would think about besides completion and practice and these others are the value of persistence. I do believe that grit is a superpower also. And the more you do something, like when you do difficult things, you're practicing handling difficult things. You're practicing showing up for yourself. And really, I'm looking at Facebook now. Don't confuse your current path with your final destination. Don't confuse your current path where your final destination you're headed, because it can be stormy right now, but it doesn't mean you aren't headed for sunshine. Right? The storm you might say is coming, but the warrior is like, I am the storm, right? And so claim that you are more powerful and stronger than you think. Now, when I think about that, I think about also the value of asking for help from others. Asking is being vulnerable. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It takes an immense amount of courage and strength to ask for help. There is nobody that's self-made. I can't stand when I see posts online where they have self-made whatever, self-made millionaire or self-made. Everybody has people that are supporting them, even if it's your clients or your customers, your community. And so I would say the value of asking, the value of others, the value of human beings. You know, when you're going through hard times, you discover who your friends really are. Is that true or not? Like when you are going through difficult times, you know who your friends are. And when things are going well for you, they discover who you are. So I'll put that out there also as well for somebody who needs to hear it, that when things are difficult, you know who your friends are. And when things are going well, your friends know who you are. And so I would just say that we all need somebody to encourage us. We all need somebody to support us. We all need somebody to cheerlead for us. And if you haven't found that person, remember to be that person for somebody else, especially be that person for you. All right. So be that person for somebody else, and especially be that person for you. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. I'm reading all your comments on Facebook and Instagram right now. So all those values, I would say also the value of just having a sense of humor. I mean, it's when at the end of our life, nobody's opinions or your fears are going to matter. What's going to matter really at that time is how you loved, how you lived, how you learned, how you laughed, right? Like, and there's like think about it. Like for me, my two biggest struggles growing up were learning and public speaking. Learning and public speaking. And what do I do for life? For my life, my mission is I public speak about this thing called learning. And I think, life has a sense of humor, and that your struggles could be your power. That my mess became my message. And so find the humor in something, find the things that can make you laugh, because we could do a whole episode on the power of laughter and the brain. This is part of you celebrating and not taking things too seriously. All right, so I think that was like 7 different things, or 8 different things. I would say the value also, if you're just joining us, I'm talking about like some lessons that I was just reflecting and meditating on that I wanted to share, because when you teach something, you get to learn it twice. And I think, my challenges was learning. So now I teach people how to learn. My challenge was brain health. So I teach brain health and brain fitness. And when you teach it, you get to learn it better. So I think that's why I'm sharing this right now, is not only so it could, so I'll ingrain it better, but also so you'll benefit from some experiences also as well. And again, not everybody's for everything. And I'm just hoping one of these are a nugget for you that could help move you in a new direction. Because one step in another direction can completely change your destination. Some people will use the word destiny. How about the value of others, and also the value of your time? We all, not everybody has the same network or the same income or the same level of education, but we all have 24 hours in a day. Everybody has 24 hours in a day, 86,400 seconds. And, just imagine every morning you'd wake up and there would be $86,400 in your bank account, but the only thing is, and you've heard this thought experiment before, you have to invest it, because at the end of the day, you lose all of it. And so how would you invest it for a better life, for your loved ones, for better learning? I believe an investment in self-education is the best investment that there is. So how do you value your time? When I wasn't sleeping, you're forced, the gift in it was I take a hard look at my priorities. I take a hard look at what matters most in my life. Like right now, I filter everything literally as heck yes or heck no. Everything in my life, it's heck yes or heck no, because there's nowhere else I'd rather be right now. No one else I'd rather be talking to right now than you. And I think there's a reason, if we connected, there's a reason for that. That's what I choose to believe. It's not necessarily truth, but it's something I choose to believe. Because remember, in my book, Limitless, I have this quote that says, life is the C between B and D. Life is the C between B and D. B is birth, D is death, C is choice. So when I didn't sleep and I was only on 90 minutes of sleep for literally 5 years, 90 minutes total because of my sleep apnea, before I had surgery at UCLA, my uvula, my soft palate, and my tonsils. It was a very painful procedure. But the gift in me not be able to learn was I became a better learner. The gift in me always shrinking down, not wanting public speak and give a book report in school is I learned how to public speak. My gift in not sleeping for so long is I became very clear. First of all, I doubled down on everything I teach because I couldn't be as effective and productive in my life without these tools of speed reading, focus, memory, all these things, critical thinking skills, studying skills. But the other gift was not only do I walk my talk, because I believe the life you live are the lessons you teach. The other gift was I became very conscious of what I commit to. And it's a harsh reminder, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. So say no much more often, right? Put first things first, as Dr. Stephen Covey would say. I believe the most important thing is to keep the most important things the most important things. The most important thing is to keep the most important things the most important things. Thank you for all the happy birthday wishes. Thank you for all the love about Limitless. We have like 800 or something 5-star reviews on Amazon. Our podcast has over 3,200 5-star reviews on iTunes. Thank you for, and again, the proceeds for the book. Right now, if you'd like to donate, not only do we have this sale, 50% of it's going to Pencils of Promise. We've donated to so much this past few months, the proceeds from this book, including women's Alzheimer's research, because women are twice as likely to experience Alzheimer's than men. And yet the research is mostly on male brains and treatments on male brains, and in memory of my grandmother, who I lost to dementia. And so the most important thing is to keep the most important things the most important things. And so just remember that. And so we talked about others, we talk about power of asking. And then finally, I would say the value of self-care. We know self-care is not selfish. Self-care is not selfish. That you have permission to rest. You are not responsible for fixing every single thing that is broken in the world. You do not have to try and make every single person happy. And so, make it your difference, right? But make time for you, make time to recover, make time to replenish without the guilt trip that you put on yourself. And then, final note, for those of you who are struggling hard in any area of life, because again, with my sleep, and I document it in Limitless, I talk about, publicly, probably for the first time in this kind of way, about my sleep issues. For those of you who are struggling, remember that you are not alone, that you are going to get through this. If you remember the time when you thought you wouldn't survive, the truth is that you did, and you will again, and you will get through this. I've learned, talking about the power of choice, that these difficult times can define us, these difficult times can diminish us, or these difficult times can develop us. And ultimately, we decide. We decide the power of the decisions. And it can be hard to keep going. There are times when you don't want to get out of bed. But remember, you inspire those around you with your grit. You inspire those around you with your grace, because people are watching. They're like, why are you listening to those podcasts? Why are you reading those books all the time? Don't try to change them. Just be an example of what's possible, and then give them permission just to watch. And when their time, if that's their path, they're going to do it. And just be an example, because it's hard enough to change yourself, much less think about how hard that is to change your eating habits, or change your financial habits, or change, your exercise, your sleep, whatever it is. Just you can't do that for somebody else. They have to want to, but just give them a reason and just be an example. And here's the thing, life may be understood backwards. That's the only time I really look back, is just to remember the lessons. But it has to be lived going present, going forward. And nurture yourself, nurture your vision you have, because it's hard to stop someone who knows where and why they're going somewhere. It's hard to stop somebody that knows why they're going there and where specifically they're going. So what do? You do the best you have, and you continue to learn, and I promise you it will be enough, right? You hold the pen to your own story, and we're writing it every single day, and write it so the best is yet to come. Meaning, if you were to project 6 months from now, looking back on today, What is the story you want to tell about not what was going on in the world, but what was going on inside of you? What was going inside of your world? And one day you may look back and you might be grateful that things didn't work out the way you wanted to or that you expected them to. And you might be in awe that all these challenges added up to make you the person you were supposed to be. And so from the depth of my heart, I want to thank you for allowing me to share with you. I want to thank you for subscribing and connecting with me on Facebook, on Instagram, on our podcast also as well. And I know that how do you become limitless in a limited world? We do it together. That's how we do it, right? That you're not alone, that you reach out for help, that you cultivate a positive peer group that encourages you, that you consistently learn every single time, that you don't have to do everything. You take time for self-care. You need these small little steps. Little by little, a little becomes a lot. Little by little, a little becomes a lot. And find, people, and connect with people that inspire you. That's why growing up, my teachers would have been surprised if I read a book, much less wrote a book. But even now, especially with us physically distancing ourselves, like books became my best friends. And, books, remember, reading is to your mind what exercise is to your body. And it's so interesting, and not just nonfiction, fiction reading also, because fiction has been shown to boost your EQ, your emotional intelligence, your level of empathy, your creativity, storytelling, your imagination allows you to be able to tap into a wealth of knowledge. So I'm so honored to be on this next journey with you around the sun. Think about my birthday, right? And I really wish for you. You know what I wish for you? I wish for you enough. I wish for you that you have, that you could be enough, that you could, that you could have enough, that you have safe, that you're safe, that you're sane, that you are strong, that you are sanitized. And that's this podcast episode. So I think I counted 10 different lessons that I'm reflecting on my birthday week. And I'm wondering what yours are also. And so I'm happy we're at the 30-minute mark to answer a few of your questions also as well. So feel free to post your questions here on Facebook or on Instagram, or if you're listening to this recording as a podcast episode, post it on social media. You can take a screenshot of this right now and tag me in it and share one lesson that you've learned this year. What is one lesson you've learned this year? What is one lesson that you've learned this year about something, about yourself, about the world, about what's fair, about what's just, about what's empowering for you? How can I find my purpose? Miguel, we just released an episode this Monday with our friend Jay Shetty on how to turn your passion and discover your passions and develop it into a purpose. I really hope people are listening to our podcast. We have tens of millions of downloads. It is consistently one of the top education training shows on iTunes. And start from the first episode and work your way up. We've done about 180 episodes, and I do those for you. You notice there's no advertising on our show. There's no sponsors for things. Every episode is about 15, no longer than 20 minutes each, because I know your time is extremely valuable. But start from the beginning, and remember the completion. Like, do the work. Treat this as your Kwik Brain Academy. For your kids that aren't in school, I repost almost every single week. Those of you who are doing Kwik Brain podcast meetups online on Zoom, you're watching one of our videos or listening to one of our shows, and you're talking about it and discussing it afterwards. Or you're reading Limitless, and you created these virtual book clubs. And, again, thank you for making this a New York Times bestseller this week again. 3 months later, because it's not just about speed reading and remembering names and learning languages. It's about managing your mind in times of crisis. It's about regaining your focus, optimizing your productivity when you're forced to work from home, how to support your children when they're not in school, if you lost your job, how do you learn a new skill, a new subject faster? And so I hope you look in these resources, kwikbrain.com, kwikbrain.com. Right now we have a 60% sale for my birthday. It ends tonight at midnight. 60% off all our programs, student success. Now think about, would you want to read better, then do our reading program. If you want to improve your memory, our reading and memory program. If you want to improve your critical thinking skill or your focus, thinking and focus. And finally, if you're as a student in your life, that's the must. That is the absolute must, because school teaches you what to learn, but not how to learn. And so you can go to jimkwik.com/birthday. And and the reason why I ask for you to join me, there's 60-day money-back guarantee. You should go to any of these programs twice. And if you're not overwhelmed with the results, then let us know. We'll get a full money-back guarantee. And we are donating 50% of that discounted price to children who have no access to education. 10 stars, limitless. Thank you. And leave a review on Amazon. We're almost crossing 900 reviews and ratings. So thank you. That means everything. And also text me. You might text me, and my text message is on Instagram. It's also, if you go to my profile, you could text me, or on Facebook, I listed also as well. My number is 310-299-9362. And if you can't remember that, then you definitely want to take our memory course. You can write it down, please, someone in the comments. 310-299-9362. And that is my community text. And I do respond to those, about 25 or 30 a day. Personally, goes to my phone directly. And then let's connect on social media. So this is not the end, it's just the beginning. But I just really want I want this weekend for you to be a weekend for you to be able to be full of lots of life, lots of love, lots of laughter, and always lots of learning. 310-299-9362. And I love you from my heart. Like you know why? Because you allow me to do my passion. If you want to listen to this episode where I interview Jay Shetty, my passion is learning, and my purpose is teaching people how to learn. And I want to thank you for allowing me to live my purpose, which is building better, brighter brains. And the reason why I wear a brain on my shirt, you get these. If you go to jimkwik.com, we have the whole selection of these shirts. We also give part of those proceeds to charity, because I believe you learn to earn, to return. But the reason why is because what you see, you take care of. You see your car, you take care of your car. You see your clothes, you take care of your clothes. You see your skin, you take care of your skin. But we don't see the thing that controls everything, which is your brain. And that's why I'm always pointing to my brain, or I'm always wearing a brain shirt, and to remind you to love your brain. Take care of your brain, because it'll take care of you. And imagine if you, when you turned 16 or 18, you got a car, but that was the one car. It's free, but you have to have that one car for the rest of your life. Well, same thing with your brain. You get one brain, and so take care of it, so it's going to take care of you in the long run. And so again, watch us on Instagram. Thank you so much for connecting with me here on Facebook or on our podcast. Thank you so much. And tap into these free resources. Kwikbrain.com is our podcast. Limitlessbook.com is for the book. You get the free pre-recorded book club, 4 weeks of going through the book together. And if you want to go really deep and go into training, you can check out our programs. And we're doing a birthday special, jimkwik.com/birthday. So my birthday wish is that, again, that you have enough, because you are enough. And this is your brain coach, Jim Kwik. And I will talk to you real soon. Lots of love. Thank you. Let me go here. I'm going to shut off 3 different cameras. Okay. This is one. Amazing. Thank you, everybody on Instagram. Lots of love to you. Bye-bye.